Hello everyone. Today I'd like to talk to you about Poor Things, but before that I'd like to tell you a story. Me and my girlfriend went to see this at the mall, and after we watched the movie, we went to the food court to get some food, and me being a big grown adult boy, man, I had a pretty big meal. And after eating we went shopping or whatever, and then I noticed if we were to leave now, I'm not gonna last the entire way back home. So, I decided that I'd take an L and I'd actually use a public toilet. Not only that, a mall public toilet. I needed to go number 2. I went to the restroom. There were 3 stalls. The middle door was open and 2 people were waiting. The reason they were waiting despite the middle stall being open was because the middle stall was clogged. I'm a well-adjusted member of society, so I took my line back behind them. And then, shortly after waiting, some punk-ass kids came in, 3 to be exact, and then they got in front of us. And I didn't bet on any fact that they would be well-adjusted members of society and wait behind us, like wait their line despite being in front of us. And not only that, one of them went into the clogged stall, and then I heard his pee splash all over the toilet paper or whatever that was clogging up the stall. And then I realized, you know what? I don't want to be a member of this society. So I exited that restroom, and then I went for a gamble. I decided that since I still have my ticket for the movie, I'd try my chances, since there's a person checking at the entrance of the movie theater. I'd try my chances and bluff my way through. I would go through the entrance like it was no big deal, and if I was checked, I'd show my ticket, and he wouldn't check that like 3 or 4 hours have elapsed since the movie was supposed to start. So I went to the entrance. Everything's fine, everything's fine. Since a previous time I went to the theater, someone else didn't really check if I had a ticket or not. I was walking, and nearly as I'm inside, a guy stops me to look at my ticket, and then I show him my ticket, and then I'm like, damn, do I just come clean? And I was so close to just about tell him, you know, dude, I need to go to the bathroom. I already paid for a ticket here. Just let me go. Then I was like, no, I'm gonna bluff. And then if he notices, I'll explain. So I took out my ticket, and then I showed him. And then he was like, Theater 7, enjoy your movie, sir. And then I fucking went to the bathroom! Anyway, Poor Things. Poor Things I had no opinion about other than Emma Stone's piercing, beady blue eyes in the poster. Are they even blue? I don't know, but the poster was very blue. I think acting-wise, everyone did really good. The cake really goes to Emma Stone in this movie. She did an amazing job. This might seem a bit of an L take. I think kind of the weakest parts, not that anyone is really bad in this movie, I don't think so. But kind of the weakest parts is a grandma you'll see in the middle of the movie. And also, I didn't like Mark Ruffalo's first few lines in the movie. The delivery just sounded really off to me. The sets, they were really good. They served their purpose really well. The production was really there, especially kind of the dissections or whatever, since you'll learn there's like kind of surgery in this movie. And also, Willem Dafoe's makeup was really good too. All the stuff on his face, or like the side of his face, like how his chin looked. It was like kind of oddly, kind of like a Hunchback of Notre Dame kind of deformed-ish. Before going any further, let me just give you a quick synopsis of what the story is without trying not to give any spoilers. So basically, there's this guy who's learning how to do surgery, and then his teacher calls him up and says, assist me with something at home. And then we learn that there's this girl at home, at the teacher's home. She seems to be mentally not there. Turns out she's kind of like a scientific experiment that Willem Dafoe is doing. And Willem Dafoe wants our student character to help him check up on her, since she's a like scientific experiment. She's very delicate. You need to like keep in check like what she's doing every day, like hair growth even, something like she's checking out. And the student character gains feelings for her, and after she discovers the wonders of touching yourself, she quickly gains a higher like starts growing up a lot faster, and she quickly gets out of her like babyish, childish mental state, and then starts growing up to be like a teenager, kind of almost like an adult by the end. And she wants freedom, and then she goes out and discovers the world while she's doing a lot of self-discovery too. And that's kind of a quick synopsis of the movie. Something about the cinematography that I want to mention was, it was interesting. The movie interestingly used like 3 different cameras. One was this kind of fisheye lens, one was this spotlight where like it's a circle and everything around it is blacked out, like only one spotlight or whatever. And then I can't remember that other effect, you know, that like wide mirror effect in like crazy houses or whatever, like circuses. They had that kind of effect. And at first I'd feel like it was to differentiate Emma Stone's character, her perspective and how she's seeing things. But later on, you quickly kind of realize they don't really serve any narrative perspective. It just seems to be like a stylistic choice. There's no, oh, this camera is for like this person's perspective. Oh, when you use this camera, oh, like they're not feeling well mentally or whatever. There doesn't seem to really be any focus other than literally the spotlight being a focus. Also, it was in black and white, and that later on changes to color too. I feel like that color part is to emphasize Emma Stone's later freedom when she finally goes out and discovers the world. The movie and its writing, the writing was pretty well good and struck a pretty good balance between kind of dramatic and also comedic. However, with the comedy, sometimes it's either kind of like black or dark comedy, and sometimes it just lingers, and the comedy comes from the lingering, like, you know, a pause for a reaction, and then the pause keeps on continuing, and that's supposed to be the joke. Other than that, I don't think any of the writing was bad. Everyone spoke accordingly on character, and there was nothing really out of the norm. Now, jumping into spoilers, I kind of want to mention like 2 or maybe 3 things here. By the end, I found it to actually be a pretty feminist movie, because Emma Stone is always making her own choices, pretty much, except for when she's getting threatened by death. But in the movie, in the end of the movie, basically she's overcome her own problems by herself and through her own skill and like wittiness, or like maybe not wittiness, but like her own smarts. And along with that feminism, I don't think it was necessarily degrading towards men that much either, except for maybe how it treated the students, and also Mark Ruffalo, but Mark Ruffalo doesn't really count because he's just entirely mostly a joke character. What I did want to mention was that seemingly people have only 2 takes. One is that this is a feminist movie, pretty pro-feminist movie, and the other is that it's really anti-feminist movie because Emma Stone is treated like an object, only a sexual character. It doesn't matter her freedom or whatever. There is a lot of sex in this movie, and it's almost gratuitous to the point, and like almost like desensitizing. But also, I don't think it was like objectifying either, because most of the time she wanted it. And also, I don't really didn't find it appealing because Emma Stone's performance was really convincing. And I don't think that's a good thing to do such a thing with such a... So anyway, people have those 2 takes, but I don't think it was anti-feminist or anything. She wanted it all of the time. And she even goes into prostitution willingly with her own free will. It's all entirely her decision, her choices in the entire movie. In the end, a wrench gets thrown into her plans to like marry the student guy, and she's forced to live with her previous husband, and she decides she doesn't want to do that. So she escapes by her own free volition, like she doesn't want to be there and she makes it out of there herself. Also, another commentary there is that she's like too wild, and the husband wants to chain her, like both to the house, going nowhere, and also like he thinks that her empowerment or her freedom comes from her sexual freedom, and he tries to deny that by castrating, well, not castrating necessarily, but you know what I mean, doing that to her. And she doesn't want that, and she manages to not have that happen to her, and she runs away from that and is successful. I don't see how you can interpret this as a like anti-feminist movie, but that's just my take on the movie. So yeah, I don't know, arbitrary rating. For me, ratings is kind of different. 0 to like 4.9, I guess that's how it works. 0 to 5 is like completely passable. Nice movie, wouldn't have a bad time watching, it's whatever. Below that is like not worth your time. Above that is, you know, it starts getting good to great and stuff. I'd put this in like a solid 6, I guess. 6 to 7 maybe. So that's just kind of my opinion on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Feel free to. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.